I've been working for the last 20 years on a brand new way to look at potential. Our society, our world is mostly oriented today to a psychological perspective. And I actually think that most people look at emotion and think it's something you shouldn't have, it's not good, you should process it, clear it, heal it, stuff it down, get rid of it, just don't have it, you know. Yeah, the happy stuff, the joyful stuff, the good emotions, but most people think when you're coming up against anger, fear, stress, all of those are things we shouldn't have. And one of the journeys for me has been in the last 10, 20 years is making friends with emotions. So I believe that anger is the tip of passion, is an expression of the power coming up in you. Why would you be so upset if you didn't care so much about something? So actually that's your own smart body telling you, hey, here's something that matters to you, and here's some energy to do something with it. So if we could flip our perspective around for emotion as opposed to something that's psychological and something that's bad and something we shouldn't have, to something that might be a really good pointer to potential. It might be our friend. It might be the energy that we need to create the next forward motion on. So if you're feeling angry, what you want to do is not blast that anger out at everybody. You want to stop, take a deep breath. Take the energy of that anger. Don't try not to have it. Try to have it. And I want you to take it and breathe it up and kind of put it in front of you, as if you're taking the energy, that fully driving oomph of it, and you're putting it in front of you. And I want you to engage with it and just pretend you can talk to it. This is you and it's your energy, and I want you to pretend you can talk to it. And I want you to ask, what is this the potential for? What is it that I care so much about that this is triggering me into this big, fiery, kind of flaring upsets? And find out what's underneath it. What do you care about? And then start to orient to, what could I do about that would move this forward for me? If I care that much, it's calling me into doing something about it. So what could I do to start to achieve the potential that this big, high energy is pointing me to? And then how can I use that energy to give me the energy to move forward? So rather than I try and get rid of this energy, if you think about anger, that's lots of powerful energy. And what's underneath it is the power to take the next steps. So again, I'll say, you don't blast the energy out, because that can be harmful to you and to others. You know how when you blasted it, that doesn't work. But instead, if you can use it to kind of just get in touch with it, and then use the power that it's bringing you to take the next step. I'm going to give you an example of my own that happened to me about 1.5 years ago. I was starting to create a new program called Wild Abundance. It's a little bit of a step beyond the law of attraction, if you've heard of that. And I had a co-trainer who'd been working with me in most of the work we were doing. And this was a brand new piece of work that I wanted to do myself. I was really excited about it. And I put out an email to some friends of mine, including this other co-trainer, and I said, okay, who would like to be in a teleclass with me where we can start to grow this body of work? Well, she kind of immediately assumed that I wanted her to co-train this with me. And at home, when I got her email, assuming she was going to co-train it with me, I kind of went, rawr. Like this flare came up in me, not at her, because she'd done nothing outside of the normal, what she would expect to do to be a great training partner with me. But for me, I was like, whoa, you can almost say furious. So I stopped, I took that breath, and I went, what is this pointing me to? And I could hear myself saying, I want to do this one. Just once. I want it to have my signature only on it. I want this to be a Solera Green body of work rather than a Visionary Network body of work, because I'm usually very generous with the work, and it usually turns out to be the Visionary Network. And so once I knew that, I sat down and I wrote her an email and said, hey, would you mind if this one is mine? And maybe once I've got it through, once I've developed it, then I'll say, yes, bring yourself to it and we'll co-train it. But for now, just want like this one to be the Solera Green signature on it. And she went, hey, sure, no problem. And I'll still be in the teleclass and I'll still contribute. But yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, oh, big relief. Do you see? So instead of letting it build up in me as this kind of gnarly, angry, upset kind of thing, as if it was about somebody else, I took what it was pointing me to. I took the passion that was underneath it and the desire to actually have some of my own work in the world. And by the way, from that I also began to create my own website, soleragreen.com instead of visionarynetwork.com. I created the program. It took me in lots of new steps that opened up lots of new ventures for me as well. And I still collaborate with that person and am teaching that and other bodies of work with them as well. So it had huge outcomes for me that were full of lots of new ideas, lots of new ventures, lots of new energy, and lots of new possibilities. So you see how if you can take that energy, take that emotion, and use it in a different way, it can give you some fabulous outcomes.